Hey guys, what's going on? This is Apple Investigator here, and in this video I wanted to bring you guys up to speed with absolutely everything you need to know about the future of the Apple iPhone. So it is expected that Apple is set to announce an iPhone 6 or an iPhone Air model in the fall. So this will be coming around the September timeframe. I have my iPad mini here just with some notes because I'm going to read you guys off a lot of different information about the potential for this device. We know that it's going to be happening, it's just what the features are going to be and whether there's going to be two models and stuff like that. So let's get right into it. So they are tentatively planning an event for mid-September. There's going to be two sizes of the iPhone, as the demand has shown that consumers want larger, bigger screen smartphones. Apple is gearing up to produce a 4.7 as well as a larger 5.5 inch iPhone 6. The 4.7 inch has actually entered production as of right now. Reports claim that it is set to actually hit store shelves on Friday, September 19th. The 5.5 inch is actually set to enter production in either the first 2 weeks of August or in September. So the release date for this device is much more unclear than that of the 4.7 inch model. The launch time is not finalized. It is suspected that maybe they are doing a staggered launch just to avoid potential for the competition between the two iPhone models, but more information about the iPhone 6 is not really available at this time. We were going to be covering the 4.7 inch device in this video. It is expected that Apple is actually preparing a massive record number of iPhones, 70 to 80 million, whether it's between the 4.7 and 5.5. So they are expecting to produce a lot of iPhone 6s, and they are also expecting to sell a ton in comparison to the initial order for the iPhone 5S. Foxconn actually hired 100,000 additional workers to prepare and manufacture the iPhone 6, so it goes to show you this is quite a large operation to get this thing off the assembly lines. The iPhone 6 will obviously run the newly introduced iOS 8. It is currently in Beta 4, but Beta 5 is to be expected on August 4th, with the potential for Beta 6 on August 15th, and then we would finally see a Goldmaster version or a GM build, which would basically be the final version prior to the public release. Now let's jump into some of the details about the phone. So with the 4.7 inch model, we can expect to see the colors staying in the typical gray, gold, and silver. And then for capacity sizes, we're going to be looking at 16, 32, and 64. But some reports suggest that there may not be a 16 gigabyte model and that there will be an additional 128 gigabyte model with the availability starting at 32 gigabytes. So that is yet to be determined. The phone is actually supposed to run 802.11 AC Wi-Fi, so much faster wireless, as well as NFC capabilities. A new report suggests that through the logic board, it indicates that these two features could be expected on the next generation iPhone. The NFC capability would obviously bring Apple the potential for a awesome payment system. They've already established technology within Passbook and Touch ID, and they could really get a payment system going. There's been talk that they have been talking to credit cards as well as debit card distributors to try and get this up and running with the next iPhone. Now for design, it will be very similar to that of the iPod Touch 5th generation, a much more rounded off design with no more chamfered straight edge cuts like on the 5S and 5. It's also supposedly going to be very thin at about 6.1 millimeters, and the 5S is currently 7.6 millimeters, so this would be quite a decrease in its thickness. The Apple logo cutout on the back will be similar to that as the iPad, so we will see that cutout metal Apple logo on there. It is not clear if that will be a glowing LED or something for notifications. I highly doubt that. I don't see Apple doing something like that, but it also could be the spot where the NFC technology is placed so that it is easy to just put your phone up to the cash and pay for your goods. Now let's talk a little bit about the display. So this has been the most talked about feature of the iPhone 6, and that is due to the fact that it is going to have sapphire crystal. Whether this is pure sapphire or just partial sapphire, that is not clear. MKBHD actually shown in his video that the very first time he got his hands on this, he was not able to break it, bend it, or scratch it, but after further testing, he was able to apply some light hairline scratches to the display, although much less than the Gorilla Glass. The resolution is going to be 1704 by 960 for a PPI of about 416. It will still maintain the current 16:9 aspect ratio. that the iPhone 5S has, and it also may include haptic feedback so that when you actually touch the screen, you actually get a vibration based on the pressure that you apply. In terms of the processor, we can definitely expect a revamped, more powerful A8 chip in there. Most likely will still be dual core as the A7 is, but we will probably see an increase in the clock speed up to 2 gigahertz from the 1.3 in the 5S. It will probably still have 1 gigabyte of RAM on board, and it will also gain the M8 motion coprocessor, and there is also potential for temperature and humidity sensors to be built in to this device. That was actually reported many months ago, and it would be about time for Apple to get those sensors, as some of the Samsung phones have had those for quite some time now. Now let's talk about the battery. So to produce a larger phone, you're obviously going to need a bigger battery inside, a bigger display, powering more pixels. It all makes sense. The current 5S has a 1560 milliampere battery, and that will not do the job with a 4.7 inch. So we are probably going to be looking at an increase to about 1810, but this would obviously not see huge improvements in the device battery life, because the bigger screen will just by default demand more power. So potential for a small battery increase, but maybe not the thing that some iPhone users were looking for. In terms of the camera, it is reported that it could just maintain the 8 megapixel camera and then also gain some new feature functionality such as an f2.0 aperture. This would be lower than the 2.2 for better depth of field, as well as faster autofocus technology. However, separate reports actually suggest that we could see a Sony 13 megapixel sensor in there with optical image stabilization, which would obviously improve image quality and video quality when your phone is subject to movement. So it would reduce the blurring and stuff like that. The front camera is also likely to see some vast improvements. It is due for an update. This could also gain a Sony camera inside, but that is unclear at this time. Finally, we should talk about Touch ID. It is being produced by TSMC, and it's supposedly going to be much more durable than that of the iPhone 5S, and also have better recognition technology. I think that when they launched this on the 5S, it had some mixed reviews. It did work for most of the time. Over time, some people did experience some errors. I actually put out some videos about this, but I found out how to fix it. It's just, you can have some struggles with Touch ID, although it is much better than some of the other fingerprint sensors that came out to market, such as the Galaxy S5. So that pretty well does it for all the news and rumors surrounding the iPhone 6 or iPhone Air, whatever it may be. We know that it is going to be 4.7 inches and it will be debuted in September. As for more information regarding the 5.5 inch iPhone, much is undetermined at this time, but as soon as I do know, I will be sure to put a video together and let you guys know. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe for much more content, including coverage of these devices, and I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.